Soundstripe. Welcome to South End Supporters, the St. Louis City SC podcast powered by Radio Live Wellness and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Wear Studios. Eric Cole alongside the Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff, as we are finally able to say we're going to be covering a win here for City. What a great feeling that is. What a great night it really was. Just energy within the stadium, energy I'm feeling with outside of the stadium with the people online and everything like that. So a lot to go over, but of course, before we get into all the great things, Dave, how are we doing this evening?
We're good. We're celebrating the second win in the Critchley era, which took, let's see, I think Critch is in his seventh game. Is that right? 2-4-1, and it took Olaf about 5 or 6 more games than that to get to 2 wins. So progress, yes. No, man, it was great to see some fire, and I'm glad that the weather stayed away, so there was an on-time kickoff. I know that the Cardinals game had several delays, and we were driving back from dropping decks off at Camp Ondasak for the week, and we drove through all the rain, so was glad to see that. And I got home just in time to see the kickoff and see the game, and really looking forward to getting into it, and really mostly excited that City did us a solid and put a win on the board before the watch party on Saturday. Like, that's huge. Like, I don't know how we could have survived if we'd had just complete apathy towards the team going into the watch party on Saturday at Felix's, but cannot wait to get into this game.
Yeah. You texted right after that win something to that effect, and it didn't even dawn on me, and I was just like, you're right. Like, man, like, it would have been we would have been going almost for the pizza and wings at that point, just for the watch party more than really the game. But so, yeah, which, speaking of, again, reminder, this Saturday, Felix's Pizza Pub, we will be having our watch party as our City will take on FC Dallas. We're really looking forward to it, win or not. We were looking forward to this. It's always a great time. So hopefully we see a bunch of you there. We'll try and send out some reminders throughout this week. But, of course, we're not going to talk about that just yet. We're going to talk about this game this weekend. And, yeah, I was driving into work, and I was seeing lightning on my drive-in, and I was like, oh, man, like, I had a certain amount of time that, shout out to Alicia, my manager, was allowing me to leave work to go to the game and then come back to, and I was like, this can't get delayed or pushed back, anything like that. Downpour pregame, but I'm looking at the skies. I'm not hearing anything, and I'm looking at the radar, and it looks like it's all going to pass, like, right about kickoff. And sure enough, like, as you started going down to your seats and, like, players were finishing warming up, like, rain stopped, skies even cleared a little bit. Like, it was pretty, really just an overall great day weather-wise as well. And then you kind of see within the first, 15 minutes or so, it was just all City. It was just, like, run and gun. Energy was high, creating chances. Like, it was keeping the crowd in it. It just was a great feeling from the kickoff. And it just felt like, I don't know, this game just, it maybe not to skip too far ahead, but, like, it just felt like when that final whistle blew, that game meant a lot to the players. It just, like, you saw them collapsing on the field. You saw how much they put into that game. Critch was talking about all week. They had the best training that they've had under him so far, like, going into the game. So you just felt like, and then just to come out and see that sort of just intensity and feeling like, man, we've really got them on the back ropes. Really just, it felt great. And you, like, the stadium was kind of feeding off it. And yeah, it's just good to kind of just, I guess, get the reward of this progress that we've been seeing throughout. But what are some of the things that really stood out to you in this game?
Yeah, so the first 15, you were spot on. And we'll start with the lineup because the setup was, holy crap, this is going to be an open game. And, good luck to you, defenders, because you've got two very offensively inclined center mids that are not known for their defense. But the first 15, it was very open and a lot of chances, most notably the 2-on-1 with Totland, where I feel like he either needs to shoot earlier or he needs to square that ball to Toichert. But He just kind of got caught in between. I think he thought that I thought the defender did a really good job of delaying as long as he could to force Totland to make a late decision. Now, if Totes takes one touch and goes low far post, it's probably in. But give credit to the keeper. He made a good save. Wasn't his last good save of the night, as he stymied City a couple other times and kept that game from maybe being a little bit more one-sided. But yeah, it was really interesting. Did you notice how deep Klaus was dropping in the first 15? It
Hmm.
was wild. Like, he kept dropping into that right side midfield spot. And I remember saying out loud a couple times, I don't know why he's doing that, and I don't really like it. And what it looked to me, it was like they were trying to open up some room for Teutsch to run in behind. And he
Hmm.
did. And he got some space in behind. But man, he is fighting it right now. He's fighting his touch, he's fighting his patience, he's fighting his own frustration. Like I said, after that 2v1, he went and kicked the post, which
Hmm.
let's not do that anymore because we're going to get into it later, but we're already down yet another player due to
Hmm.
a freak injury. But no, the first 15 were great until they weren't. And then De Acosta just slices in a really nice pass from Moreno, the outside of the boot. And Acosta found himself in a lot of space, and the center backs did not step up. And just a really clinical finish into the bottom corner. And just everyone was kind of shell shocked because City had the majority of the momentum and the majority of the chances and possession, but it was 1-0. And here we go again.
Yeah, and here we go again was the energy in the stadium when that goal went in. It was like you said, I mean, the whole first 15 minutes was really back and forth. Like you said, it was so open. The defenders, everybody, you could sell, like after the first 15, almost kind of looked around at both teams, looked at each other like, hey, let's slow this down. We're not going to make 90 if we keep this going. Like it was just a frantic pace. And then, yeah, Acosta just finds himself in quite a bit of space. I don't know if there's just kind of a miscommunication between Ostrak and Wallem there in the middle, just as far as like spacing, because they were pretty close together. And, you know, the nearest person to Acosta when he picks up the ball is Klaus. And that's the last person you think should be the one tracking back, trying to make a play on the ball. And just, yeah, like you said, it was a well taken goal. Put it about the only place he really could have, because I think even if he lifts that in the air, Berkey gets a little bit more of a angle on it and stuff like that. And to your point, it was also the feeling that we've just experienced so many times where it's felt like we've had quite a few chances and they went squandered. I totally agree with you on the Tots chance. And I think that was just I think he was almost, to your point, the defender played him so well. I think he was hoping that there would have been more of a space for him to get across in. And he just wasn't finding it for Teutsch. And so he eventually gets so close, he's like, I got to shoot it. And from my angle, it was a perfect angle. Like it was going to tuck into that side netting had Krimpo not made a great save on the ball. But you're right. Just that little bit of indecision that we've seen a lot this year when it comes to the final third can just squander a chance away. And then, you know, kind of where I also started noticing, I don't know if you picked up on this, where things kind of started to shift back a little bit was Hartle was finding it harder to get on the ball at that point. So then he was dropping even farther than Ostrak and Wallem for a little bit just to get on the ball because they were having trouble finding him. And that's where I felt like things kind of stymied a little bit for City. But I want to give credit to City as far as being down 1-0. And they said, like, they went into the locker room, and this totally made sense that, you know, they asked Critch, what did you change? And he was like, well, really nothing, because everything was really going right except for the score on the board. They were leading in every stat that was on the board. Like, you could tell it was a pretty dominant first half, I would almost say, by City. It felt like we were, you know, really the only chance I could really think of that was really stand out was, I know Berkey made a good save down in that north end. I can't remember on who it was, but it was a weird angle and it was one you'd almost expect him to make. But I felt like majority of the chances or any danger chances were in City's way. So you're a little
Yeah,
worried going
can
into.
I throw you? I'll throw you some first half numbers real quick, right? Just
Yes,
to kind
send
of
them out.
contextualize that. So
Yeah.
57% possession for City, 0.74 xG, tripled Portland's xG, 9 shots, 5 on target, 2 big chances. So one being Totes, and then I'm trying to think of what the other one would have been, but two big chances that they were expected to probably score. So this is a rarity where City control the possession and the XG. Portland like to sit back, they like to counter, which is where the goal came from. I'm a little concerned that, and at this point you have to do what you have to do because you have to put together. You have to score because you're not going to stop anybody on defense with this lineup. So you have to throw bodies forward. My biggest concern right now is that teams seem to have figured out that with this version of City, you can kind of sit deep for the first 15 and kind of let them run themselves to death. And even if they get one goal on you, you're probably going to be able to get chances on them. Like Portland had no interest in really possessing the ball very much in the first half, at least with a purpose. They had 43% possession, but really their biggest XG chance was De Costa's goal.
Yeah.
The one thing, and this is just to my eyes, right? And, whatever, my untrained, it seems like because City lack a lot of creative one-on-one dribblers, chance creators, people that can create chances for themselves, right? You got Celio, you got Klaus, who could create, but not the same type of chances. But the problem in some of these counters come from when City throw 5 or 6 guys into one spot on the field and things get stagnant and they try to force plays that aren't there. I think I said that probably half a dozen times in the first half, that Wallum and Ostrak tend to try to force the issue when the play's not there rather than just recycle the ball out, swing it to the other side, live to fight another day. Second half, they were much better about being patient and purposeful in possession. That was the biggest change that I noticed. Like you said, they were still throwing numbers forward. They were still trying to link up, through the middle, but they were a lot more patient about it, is what it seemed like to me.
No, you're exactly right. And I think if you're any team, you're looking just the stat that they put up at halftime that City are 0-9 when they're down at half. And so you look at that, yeah, you're right. It does seem like the playbook is out that we've experienced with a lot of teams this year is just weather out the first 15 minutes of City. And to your point, we haven't really been good as far as like in congestion, those just working our ways around. Like to your point, trying to force things in. We just haven't, been on track. There's been a few like where it's like two good link up passes, third one just is awry, or we second guess like the Tots chance and the chance goes away. So I feel like teams do play out that, and like you said, it lures us into let's just keep throwing bodies forward. We got them on the back ropes. Let's keep going forward, and then we keep getting count on these counters, which that Acosta goal was. And so you're right, where it just felt like a little bit forced. And like I said, it seems like teams have that. Like if we can just get into half one up or tied, they feel like they have the better of chance because I don't know if it's just they think we're running ourselves ragged or they just feel better about their second half substitutions or whatever it may be. But I do want to give the flowers to Ostrak. What a big change in that second half is where we've been kind of critical on City a lot this year is in the middle of the park and being able to be creative and just hold possession and everything like that. I think the biggest difference maker was Ostrak's play in that second half. I can't think of many times where when he was on the ball and even surrounded, he gave up possession. For not being such a big in stature type of player, he can body off and hold the ball really well. He's just gotten his touch a little bit away in the past to where then he's given up possession. But he did extremely well, especially in that second half. And that first goal, texted you right away. That goal was all credit to Ostrak's play. I know on the stat sheet we'll see a Celio assist and a Hartle goal, but that goal doesn't get made if Ostrak loses possession in that. I mean, he fought off 3 players, and then to still keep his composure. He didn't try to get overly wild. He played a simple leading pass through to Hartle, who then found Ostrak or Celio out on the wing. Like it wasn't anything to where I feel like sometimes players can get to where when they do such a great play, get so excited that they did it that they try to do something extreme. And he just kept it simple, got the ball out, which led to that goal. And a great on Hartle for burying it. I think that one maybe looks easy because you're close, but opposite foot, tight angle going top shelf near post is a pretty wild take, but it's in the back of the net, and that's all that matters. And man, the shift you just felt within the stadium. It just felt like they were noticing the play. They felt the energy that City was putting out, and you just felt like you started seeing a lot more people getting out of their seats and standing and holding. And I mean, you just talk about a shift. The ovation and the energy and the chills that everybody got when Leuven came back on that field. I mean, it just was like, I know like they were asked about whether it was a lift for the players, and I know Berkey kind of shot it down, but you could feel like unfortunately it was coming in off of Celio going down, but right away a free kick near post that Crimpo makes a good save on. Um, Unfortunately, like you said, we lose Celio, who I felt was gaining in confidence. He was finally just taking players one on one. He was trying to do a lot more of his just fast feet tricks. He was feeling it that night. It's a shame that he goes down. I haven't really seen a diagnosis on anything yet, which also I want to get into this. Can we get away from, as players, I understand you may get frustrations with the player going down. You may feel like it's a dive or you may feel like it's an exaggeration. I'm whatever. I'm for if you want to get in his face and, tell him to get up or whatever S house you want to do. Don't touch the player. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know, because if you watch, Kelsey directly goes in and starts patting on the shoulder, telling him to get up. It's the shoulder that
Yeah.
collarbone dislocated. Like, just let him, because you never know. Like, I've seen it where players try to pick other players up, and it's like, dude, he's just broke his leg or whatever. Like, just talk to him on the field. But I really felt like that moment was just a shift, and then from there on out, it really felt like until you'd say the last 5 minutes, it was just a shift in City. But I think a big thing that was really helping that, what really made Hartle shine, was Ostrak's play in the middle of the field of keeping possession, but also just keeping it simple and not losing possession to allow those counters that I think Portland was looking to prey upon.
Yeah. The first goal, just to wrap that up real quick, Ostrak could go down. He had
Yes.
every right to go down and take that foul in the middle of the field, and he didn't. He fought through it. And credit to the referee for playing advantage. And then, yes, Celio, prior to the injury, was, I'm going to take you on. I'm going to take two players on. They were rotating two players over to him every time he picked the ball up. And he finally got it in his head that he was just going to go. I'm going to be better than these two players right now. I'm going to be faster than these two players. And he created a lot of chances. The first one in particular, they get kind of a lucky bounce, or what, if you want to call it was a fortuitous bounce that it came back to Hartle. But how easy is it to just sky that ball over the net from that close, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
still a very good finish. And, good on him also for, we talked last week about how he's a top 3 key passes player and expected assists, and he picks up 2 goals, right? And that's pretty great. Leuven coming in, Berkey can dismiss it if he wants. That's a huge lift to everybody. And like we've talked about, him coming to the game also allows other people to fill roles that they're more comfortable in, and it shifts the dynamic of how you're able to attack that team. If he's not in that game, let's just take that free kick in general, right? If he's not in that game to take that free kick, I'm assuming it's Hartle that takes it. Hartle doesn't have a really strong, driven, whip it over the top sort of free kick. So maybe they have to play a little floater to the back post, and instead of being a shot that the goalie has to make a save on, you're looking for a header back across and then sort of a scramble goal. So even if you don't want to call it an emotional lift, which I totally believe that it was, I know it definitely was to the fan base, it's a huge lift just tactically for the team. Leuven, along with being a skilled player, is a big physical guy on defense also. And when you have Wallum and Ostrak, you're missing that element in the middle of the park. Regardless, he comes in, goalie makes a good save. City stays with the play, most importantly. Hartle stays with the play, finds himself on the back post, goes up, gives himself a chance, and ball don't lie. The ball goes in off of Kelsey. You should have kept your damn hands off the player and just played the game. 2-1 City. By the way, when are we going to go back to defending your teammates when people are putting their hands on them? Like,
Yeah.
can somebody pick up a yellow card by just running through that dude's back? Or at least go and you grab him by the collar of the shirt and you ride him across the field and you say, you don't put your hands on my player. Like, why don't we do that anymore? Why is that not a thing in soccer anymore? I don't understand it. At least it's not the norm. Like, I'm not saying you have to go and, throw an elbow in the back of his head, but that needs to be addressed like immediately. Somebody, Klaus, one of the Yarrow, JGR, somebody go get in that dude's face, get him away from your player. And the referee, although he had just given a yellow for the foul, that was
Yeah,
the second time in the game. He was totally justified in giving a second yellow. I
there
mean,
are a few.
you don't want to change the momentum. You don't want to change the whole picture of the game. But that's, if you look up in the rules, like, that's violent conduct. A second case of violent conduct to a player that's down on the ground. I don't know, man. But either way, justice was served. Ball don't lie. Too bad for you. And 2-1. So that was great. And like you said, it was great until about the last 5 minutes, where they decided that rather than just hang on to the ball and go to the corner, they're going to try to put a third in and give the ball a little too much to Portland. But, Critch said in his post-game comments, let me bring them up because these are courtesy of Mr. J. Clem.
The man.
Yeah, the man, Jay Clem. I have many moments. These are from Critch. I have many moments of being proud today, but we're not sitting back on a 2-1 lead. I think I told you guys in week 1 we're going to try to win a football game, and the best way to do that is score more goals. A couple moments to bending deep in the second half, and we won it. And 4, 5, 6 guys are sprinting 75 yards down the field to try to get the third goal. I was super proud of them. Super proud of them moments happening today. And just imagine that in Scouts and how much more effective that is in Scouts. One last thing from him. My message to them was to get 1% better than last week, which we've done. And now the message is going to be consistent. So we have to pick up consistent results now. By the way, Apple TV, after the game, on the field, they're interviewing Hartle, and they asked him if he still thinks they can make the playoffs. Like, shut up. Get off the field.
Yeah, dude.
They just won their 4th game. It was a huge relief. They're at home. Really ask them if they can make the playoffs. Like, one game at a time, man.
100%. 100% on that. Yeah, let's go back to Leuven coming in. The biggest thing that I was noticing, especially watching live, was you have him, somebody who just wants to be on the ball, whether it's a pass directly back to you, he just wants to get a touch on the ball, and he drops so far deep. What I love about it, especially late in game or when you're holding the lead, is it gets the ball out of our center backs' feet who aren't comfortable on the ball.
Yep.
Yarrow, which I thought Yarrow had a better game, but I think the reason he had a better game is he wasn't asked to do any distribution as much. He wasn't on the ball. It was a lot more, he would just either get it back to Berkey, and then Berkey would try to find it. But even with Berkey or JGR being on the ball, a lot of times, Wallem and Ostrox, they hung around midfield so much that a lot of their passes had to be, good 25, 30-yard passes. While they may have been, pretty open checking back to the ball, Leuven is a good, 5, 10-yard pass that they feel secure on. Get the ball to him and let him to be the one to distribute it. And again, he's a big body on the ball, so he's good on holding up the ball. So that was a big thing that I was really liking in it. Yeah, after the play, I think we don't really have one of those like Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira type enforcer players out on the field that are just going to let you know, like, don't touch my player. I know Toicher kind of grabbed them and, what are you doing kind of deal, but you gotta let them know, not what are you doing, you got to let them know you're not doing that again to anybody on this field kind of deal, and let them know, like, next one is going to be, I'm coming. Like you said, let them know you're there early, but also let them know you're there throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah,
it was kind
purpose
of
foul.
Yeah,
and it was a foul.
It was a weird deal because there were a few instances where I thought Portland's players could have maybe picked up that second yellow. That push on Betch, which, I was expecting Betch to have like maybe kicked away the ball. He stood his ground, didn't touch the ball, clear push on it. He's an S-house, but it's still like that dude also just received a yellow. And then that Krempo one, I was surprised that one wasn't really reviewed as much anymore in the first half on Toichert because
the penalty that should have been.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Like, you're I don't know how that isn't reviewed more through VAR at least, because it's just a weird deal to where the ball clearly goes out on Toichert. I know they gave a corner kick, but you got that one wrong. The reason it went out on Toichert is because he gets the touch on the ball, Krempo doesn't. So I don't know where that one wasn't reviewed as much. Luckily, we're talking about a win and not a tie or a loss, because that would have really been, kind of just an extra thorn. But then the other thing, too, with Leuven coming in, just having him back on set pieces, like just that, like you said, that whipped-in ball with pace where that can go anywhere, and especially on a wet night like it was. Like Hartle, he kind of got away still a little bit with some of the floated free kicks. I do like the setup one free kick where they just moved Celio a little bit out wide, found him in an ISO position
Yes,
because that was
yes, I did
working.
like that.
Just a little switch up like that, and especially when Celio was feeling it, taking him one on one, and then typically you get a corner out of it, but it was just good. I don't know. The other person I want to shout out, obviously Berkey with the two key saves. I think it's almost unfair to Berkey to feel like we don't shout him out as much because it's just become so normal to
Yeah,
us for him to keep us in the game. While those two saves, he don't make those. It's a totally different ball game. But Orozco, man, that kid,
great game. God, great game. He's got to be on. He's got to be on the team,
it,
right?
it's
Like they
it
can't let him go back down. There's no
no,
way.
the just there were so many plays that I'm thinking had he not been in there, they would have. He just read
Yeah,
the ball so many times, position wise. His composure on the ball in tight spaces is so well. His timing on
yeah,
these slide tackles. It's wild to think now that I saw a shift in Portland where they decided to attack our right side and really go at Tots. And a year
yeah.
or the past couple years, we wouldn't be saying that. We'd be saying they're really going down that left. And they really shifted the way they wanted to attack down their left, our right. And I just thought he didn't put a foot out of place and ran himself ragged, cramping towards the end. Luckily,
Yeah.
that's all they said it was. But that if these City Two kids, man, they're coming up and they're just playing with so much heart and determination, and
Yep.
they're playing with that fire that we hope to see, which we did. I feel like see finally out of every player on that field, just that fire that we left everything on the field. It was almost like a little bit of a worry when the final whistle blows and you see 9 of our players drop to the ground. It's like, please just be from exhaustion and nothing else. Like it was just a great feeling of seeing just that output, and the fans really rewarded it. But what I loved is when he was substituted out, is he got a good ovation. Like the fans saw the shift that kid put in, and it was appreciated and kind of rewarded when he came off the field. So definitely want to shout him out. Yeah, he's got to be in the plans going forward because he's in his 2 games he's been fantastic, and it's
Yeah.
been a kind of a wild shout for somebody coming in City 2 and having such a great impact. But I really thought he did, and it was just great to see the performance out of him. Like I said, the saves with Berkey, it's just good feeling like I can't really think of anybody in the game that really had a bad game. It was funny because like as I was watching the game, I was thinking Wallem wasn't having his greatest game, but then he puts in a good cross to get an
Yeah.
assist towards the
I
end. So
thought
it's like
I thought Torture, like I said, I thought Torture
torture,
ran really
yeah,
hard, but I thought he was a little out of control. I think he's got to throttle back a little bit sometimes. And then I don't know, man. Klaus, I wouldn't say he had a bad game, but he just never found himself in the space that he's been finding himself for about the last month with opportunity. And maybe that was because maybe Portland took that away. Maybe that's why Hartle was able to run a little more free and why Torture was able to run a little more free because they're paying more attention to Klaus. But man, he didn't score, but he hit an
that was a
absolute
piston goal,
laser
man.
at
That
the end.
hmm
But that if it's anywhere but right at the goalie's hands, it might have been goal of the week. Um,
yeah,
no, good showing by the guys, and hopefully now, again, we talked about, I think it was last week, how even in the losses, they're staying in these games and they're giving themselves chances, and you can kind of tell, you can kind of see the confidence building in each other and in the team, and the big downside from this game is Celio, and I've seen reports anywhere from a dislocated shoulder to a chipped collarbone, and there's been no official announcement yet. Obviously, either one of those injuries is probably minimum a month. So we'll have to maybe that's the opening for Makai Joyner to get a first team full call up. I don't know,
yeah.
but it's it's just they're so snake bitten. Even in wins, people are dropping like flies.
I know,
So
right?
on to Dallas, and you again, the idea for the rest of this season, for the remaining 12 games, is to just put a good string of efforts together and get some results and see what you've got for next year, whether that's under Critch or any other coach that's coming in. There's some transfer rumors out there. Nobody really moves the needle as far as I can tell. And at this point, I kind of hope that anybody that is other than like supplemental, like I know they picked up the 2 guys, that they're likely to pick up the 2 guys from Minnesota. But I just think supplementing the roster is the way to go at this point, and then you hit the transfer window in January or whatever it is when you figure out who's the new coaches.
Yeah, we've kind of been saying this on the show, just with the run of results is, look on what you can build off of positive that you take into almost next year, or what you look to keep around, or what you look to build on throughout the rest of this year. I think what Critch said is great. Just build off that 1%, and keep progress, and progress with results. And hopefully, if we keep getting that 1% better, and we build off of something like this, it can really boost the way the rest of the season goes. I had it was kind of a joyous feeling for me leaving the park that night, even though I was going back to work, and that was just the only thing that was going to dampen my mood that night. But it made me realize a couple things. Is one, first, this is why you stay with your team through the good and the bad, because nights like that, they feel so much greater. And it could have just been a simple 2-1 win, and we could have just easily taken it for granted. But the way the fans felt and just everybody felt, it just felt like a lot more than that. And what kind of almost I'm hoping is a sign for the way it was is, as we touched on, it was cloudy, rainy, just, kind of a crappy day as far as the weather goes. But on that drive home, or that drive out to work, heading out to Chesterfield, there was just this beautiful sunset. And I was just thinking, like, man, maybe, hopefully this could just be like some sort of sign of the way the rest of the season goes. It's just been raining on us and clouds, and we just can't catch a break and everything like that. But something like this, we can just,
We don't want the sun to set, Cole.
well, no, but we want to see the beauty after the beauty after the rain. Not to get too nerdy again, but when the sun shines out, it should shine out all the brighter, and that's just the way it felt. It just felt like, I don't know. I had this feeling of driving home of like, man, maybe this could be the thing that turns things around. Selfishly, I was hoping we were going to get a win this weekend, and we could take all the credit saying it was our watch party that started this whole run that went on it. But I'll take it. It just felt, I just had this feeling of like, man, if we can just do this, against like you texted kind of afterwards, what an unexpected sort of win. We didn't, unexpected.
Not by Vegas. Not by Vegas.
Also unexpected for some of us, because I believe one of us on this podcast predicted a 2-1 win for City.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Throwing that out 2-2. Yeah. But it just, man, against a team like Portland, I know they were dealing with some injuries as well, but hell, we're not taking that excuse from anybody as far as that goes this season.
No.
But it just really, it felt like, I hope this could be something that they truly build off of, and like Critch said, just get that 1% better as they keep going along. But
get healthier. No,
yes,
get healthier. That's about all there is to it. Get healthier and just keep grinding. That's what we want to see. We want to see effort, man. That's the most important thing at this point, is like, show us that you want to wear the badge. Show us that you want to wear the City red. And they've been doing it under Critch. I honestly believe there's maybe one game where I felt like this team didn't want to be there. I think that was the road game against Houston on the short week, where it was like they just don't look like they want to be in this game right now. And that game is it's water under the bridge, and we're on to Dallas. So good deal.
Players seem to be enjoying playing under him, and hopefully the more injuries get back, the more that they can be playing in their preferred role, the role that I feel like would suit them best, as we get these pieces back here and there. And, we really start to see what this team can be made of. So, again, City coming out with a big win, 2-1 at home against Portland. They will hope to carry that momentum again this upcoming Saturday, as they will go back out on the road to take on FC Dallas. But, of course, you'll get to watch that game with us at Felix's Pizza Pub for that watch party. Kickoff is going to be at 7:30. Again, we'll be down there a little bit earlier hanging out and, of course, eating some delicious food. But, talking about getting 1% better each day, there's obviously no better place to get yourself continuing to be 1% better each day than Ready to Live Wellness, our title sponsor. And they've got some great deals right now that they are rolling out, where they got a couple different options. So for $119, you can get unlimited gym and open gym access. Plus, you get to choose from 2 of the things that they offer: the Fire and Ice with breast and exposure. That's going to be the heat, and the ice tub therapy. You can choose from that. You can choose from an injury screening with Laura at Rehab Loft. You can choose a Pilates class with Casa de Pilates, or you could choose a 1 30-minute massage with Jasmine from Mindful Recovery. So you get to choose from two of those, as well as unlimited gym access and open gym access to all their classes. Or for $200, you could get 4 personal training sessions with a licensed coach, and you get one fire and ice session with breath and exposure, as well as one eVolt body scan, one VO2 max test, and one consult with a physician from Move. So a lot of great opportunities at great prices. I can personally tell you, being around the fitness industry in this area, you're not going to beat those deals, especially the personal training. You're not really getting personal training in a lot of gyms for 4 sessions for $200 anywhere around there. So you're getting that plus those other things added on. It's a one-stop shop. It's everything you need. So whether you're mom of 3 or you're strong as the double MCB, there's one place that you got to go check out. It is Ready to Live Wellness. And of course, you got to have that merch to go along with those great workouts. Dave, where can they get that merch?
Well, if you feel like you need a screen printed T-shirt that says "Ready to Live Wellness" for moms of 3 and the double MCB, then you need to go to 12.
I said strong as the double MCB.
Listen, it was so good, I blacked out for a second. But if you want to order a specially screen printed T-shirt with all of 6'1" Skate's best sayings, you can go to Warrior Logo Wear at 12 East Main Street, Muscuda, Illinois, for all your team and individual sportswear needs, from T-shirts, hats, and hoodies to team sports uniforms and promotional swag. Warrior Logo Wear is a veteran-owned business, and they take the pride and they have the same pride, dedication to discipline, and attention to detail from their service time, and they put that into every project. They can even help you set up a customizable online store featuring your products with a logo or a logo they help you design. There are no order minimums, and Warrior Logo Wear can be the perfect size order for any event or company. So check them out, warriorlogowear.com, on all the socials, also on Instagram at Warrior Logo Wear, all lowercase, on Twitter at Warrior Logo Wear, capital W, capital L, capital W, the official swag sponsor and studio sponsor of the South End supporters. Yeah,
that's right.
That was really good, Eric. Like, what did you say it again? Mom of 3.
So whether you're a mom of 3 or you're as strong as the double MCB.
Oh, I love that so much. God, I'm so in love with myself sometimes.
So if anybody's ever driving next to me out in Missouri and they're wondering why does that guy look like he's spaced off in the distance and possibly veering into a different lane, it's because I'm stupid and trying to come up with dumb catchphrases like that just to keep this thing.
I love them. I feel like I probably need to start storing these things on Discord so we can remember all of them, because they are so good. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll start adding that into No Goal Patrol Discord. But now it comes to the part of the show where we bring you the news and notes from the back post, presented to you by Elite FT, the premier youth sports training program in the Metro East. And they've been doing it since 2002, with a mission of providing a safe, educational, challenging, and fun environment where our coaches can instruct and challenge athletes, helping them become confident, disciplined, and elite. Elite FT is committed to your athlete's success, no matter the age or skill level, from the moment they lace up their first pair of cleats. We talk about Bosco's buddies all the time. How's Bosco's buddies going for the Cole family?
Like I think we got a lefty on our hands with Lakeland, working that left foot. Still
Nice.
need to work on the picking the ball up and running away, because she thinks it's funny when we have to chase her to get it back. And then Delaney loves it. She gets a little bit too caught up in which color team we're on. I'm the pink team, and it's like, all right, yeah, that's good. But remember, we dribble through, we do all that. So, but hey, they do it in such a fun way that it's always keeping them into the game.
That's
so it's
awesome.
great.
That's awesome. So you can do things like Bosco's buddies or the regular soccer programs and training. You can also they've also got speed and agility classes. They can do private team training. Zoe had her first training last week with Marin. It was awesome. I've got some videos of doing some fast feet stuff. I was actually out there with the owner. Justin was watching his kids are also now on Bosco's buddies. So not only he an owner, he is also a client. So check out EliteFT.com, EliteFT Soccer on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Or check them out inside the Sports Academy 101, The Game Drive. They bring you this week's news and notes from the back post. And I have really exciting news for you, Eric.
Let's hear it.
I have found the perfect, You know what? When I first started doing this show, you tried to give me theme music. You remember that? And it was
Yeah,
Slipknot, and it was
through the
great. But
phone.
I have
Yeah,
found the perfect theme music for news and notes for the back post.
I'm so excited.
If you'll indulge me.
Oh, of course, of
Okay.
course. So if you're watching this on the YouTube, Dave just put on the dumbest hat that I've ever seen in my life. He's also wearing probably, it's all black and white, so I can't
Chelsea
read too
is
much.
our
But
name.
the way you set it up, I had a feeling you were going that direction, but then you threw me off with the theme music, and so I was like, oh, and boy, you hook, line, and sinker me into it because I did get excited, and then just the giddiness on your face, I was like, I don't. Thank God, I was like, I don't recognize this song, and then I saw the bucket hat come out, and I was like, that's why I don't recognize this song. So
Why aren't you excited? I thought we're not both Chelsea fans. No.
I would not be a Chelsea fan. The tattoo on my chest is not of the Chelsea logo.
You could probably get that lasered off, and they can put you. This would look really good, I think, or this one.
I tell you, the past couple seasons, that's crossed my mind quite a bit. Is
So the reason that I'm celebrating and gloating like a madman and like a complete idiot is that Chelsea are the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup champions. They knocked off the real best club team in the world, in my opinion, and I think in Eric's opinion, in PSG.
right now, yeah, right now.
Yeah. And it was an absolute, like, I didn't get to watch it. I was golfing this weekend, and then I think I said we went and dropped decks off at Honda Song. But by the time I got service and was able to flip on FootMob, it said 3-0 Chelsea. And I was thinking, what is going on? It had to be a glitch. So I flipped on FootMob's got this really cool audio commentary feature on there where you can listen to, they're not the live broadcast, but they are a FootMob produced broadcast of the game. And the guy does a really good job. And from all accounts, it was just Chelsea held all the possession. They had all the chances. They made PSG look extremely pedestrian. And then when PSG did pick up some chances late in the game, the one thing that Chelsea hasn't had all year, goalkeeping, Robert Sanchez played like a Golden Gloves winner. Like that's how it went. It was a tactical masterclass from Maresca and Cole Palmer, player of the tournament, 2 really good goals. João Pedro with a nice goal assisted by Cole Palmer. It was they had the perfect game plan for the perfect game. And to be totally fair, PSG have had the longest season of anybody, right? Like they won their domestic league, they won their domestic tournament, they won the Champions League, which is a huge long run into May, and then turn around and completely come to the States and play this tournament. Chelsea had only played in the Conference League and won that. So PSG were probably running on fumes. But again, best club team in the world in a super high profile tournament, and the Blues showed up. And it was really cool to see. And yeah, really, really gives me a boost for this upcoming season now, because not only do Chelsea have a super deep squad, they've always had a deep squad, but it feels like they've made the right signings now and kind of shuttled off some of the guys that they just overpaid for just for the sake of it. And now you've got depth at pretty much every offensive position. You've got a really solid back line. So not to turn this into a Chelsea podcast, because I wanted to just talk about the FIFA Club World Cup, but
yeah, well, when you sign 30 players, you're bound to have a couple of
you've
them
got to
work out
hit
for you
eventually, right? So yeah,
I was telling you pre-show, I was kind of like watching in and out because I was at work, but when I saw it was 2-0, I was just shocked that our other group message, I was like, how are these guys are yapping all year, and the one year that they're in a final and they're up 2-0 and then the red card, I'm like, they have the control and nobody's talking. And then I talked to you and you were like, I was gone, I wasn't really able to hear it. And then I know my brother, who's a Chelsea fan, he's one of those negative guys that he's probably just waiting for anything to kind of backfire on Chelsea, which,
he is. He totally is. He is a Chicken Little of Chelsea fans.
I tell you who I felt bad for pre-game was our buddy Mo. because he's he supports both those
Oh
clubs. So
yeah,
that, I mean, it was a
yeah.
win-win for him, I guess, either way. But like, imagine being
He
in that.
got
That'd be like,
he got plenty of trophies this year.
yeah,
If those are his
I'm
two supporting teams,
I'm sure
so
he's doing. Yeah, he's doing
yeah,
all
he's
right with
doing
that.
just
But yeah,
fine. So some quick numbers on the FIFA Club World Cup, and then we'll put a bow on that. 63 matches, so a total of 2.491 million in attendance, an average of 39,547 fans per game. Uh, 32 teams. The prize money, the total prize pot was $1 billion, with 525 million for participation and 475 million based on just performance. The payouts of this thing are just absurd. So Chelsea was the biggest winner, the biggest, earned the most money. They got 21.3 million just for playing in this tournament, and 62.7 million, and this is pounds, 62.7 million pounds for winning the tournament. I mean, that's pretty wild that
yeah.
there's that much money. And I don't know the conversion of those
What
two.
it's wild that FIFA had a big purse put out. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
But I mean, that's so. If this tournament had just been, that's how they got these teams, these high profile teams to take this serious. I mean, I've
yeah,
told you, I listened to a lot of the Guardian football podcast, and those writers were convinced from the very beginning that this was going to be just like preseason friendlies. And no, absolutely not. If you watched any of these games, particularly in the knockout stage, particularly if you're playing the South American teams,
yeah, yeah.
these games were crazy competitive. It reminded me a lot of when you face South American teams in the World Cup. Like this was everybody was out for blood and the flag, and there's no doubt in my mind that these players all wanted to shine and getting to play in front of an American audience and getting more exposure for the personal brand. Like how many American fans who didn't know who Cole Palmer was before this
Just a big
tournament
Cole
now who
Palmer
he
fan
was,
now. Yeah,
or
yeah.
or João Pedro or Vitinha or Marquinhos or anybody, Desiree Doué, like it's I don't know, man. I
Or
hate when people.
just exposure to those South American clubs that we have
Oh my
never get
gosh,
to see or anything like that.
what about a team like Auckland City? Auckland City
Yeah, yeah,
SC.
yeah.
They got 3.3 million pounds for just being in this tournament. That was their fee. That I think I read somewhere where that's like 10 times their entire league's payroll.
I bet.
So
Yeah,
and not to mention how many people were watching these games and might have liked their kits or any sort of their merchandise. It's just crazy. I went into the tournament with neutral expectations. Like I knew there were going to be some good games, particularly in the knockout stage. I loved it. I ate it up. I got DAZN even though I didn't have to,
hmm
for the HD and the Dolby sound experience, and I loved it. Zoe loved it. It was great. The only downside of the whole thing was that I could not actually watch the final. that was my biggest regret of the whole time.
yeah. The only two gripes I really had on the whole tournament was the ticket pricing early on, because that
Oh
was
yeah,
the biggest reason for a lot of fans not showing up to those. Was like you saw that after I think the knockout rounds, the tickets went from like 400 something a ticket to what they should have been, and that's when you started seeing the
yeah,
stadiums fill out a little bit more. And then just personally, just because I don't have the zone, I didn't like half the games I didn't get to watch, and that was kind of a bummer for me because I want to get to see some of those clubs that I don't get exposure to. I want to see what the Brazilian league offers, even though I did get to see little bits here and there. But I just would wish like a lot of sports, the way they're going now, is just a little bit more openly available to everybody because it could have grew the sport just that much more. And so,
yeah,
yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think it was a positive for those teams, not only just financially, but just exposure to their club. Like you said, if a lot of those fans weren't Chelsea fans, there's a lot of fans now that I guarantee you guys
yeah,
picked up a lot of fans from that tournament and superstars that we know, like Cole Palmer, that is you're going to see a lot more Palmer jerseys, I bet, being sold as well. So it's as much as I don't like the outcome, it was good for those teams.
yeah. It was great. It had to be great for everybody. I mean, you have a couple of moments that are the Musiala injury, that
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
obviously that one's obviously a downer, and there's some other injuries and things like that, and some teams that underachieved. But overall, this kind of fit right in with all other FIFA tournaments in that it's just a complete clown show and a complete travesty. everything around it, from the opening ceremonies to the stupid ass player announcements before the game, like they're walking in, like they're professional wrestlers, to the tournament final with people who won't get off the damn stage and let the team who actually won the tournament celebrate. But as is with all other soccer tournaments, the players showed up and showed out and made it a good tournament, good football, good games, and a fantastic, perfect result. Couldn't have been any better.
And while I know, like, yeah, those players, with that intensity, maybe got a little bit more, I'm sure they'll get time off now for preseason and stuff. But I mean, injuries, if you're looking at it that way, injuries can happen preseason
In training
friendlies and stuff. Like,
Yep.
uh, our stupid Anna, our goalie, he just picked up a hamstring injury, and we were looking to offload him, and now he's useless as far as selling him in training. Like it's like
God.
that stuff. You hear about it happening
Yeah.
anyway. I mean, I know the Musiala one was really unfortunate for how severe
Yeah.
it was, but if you're worried about picking up injuries, and I almost think if anything, that's going to get you ready for the season more, is playing these intense with the team that you see yourself going into the season
Yeah.
with. You're going to be probably a step ahead of those other teams that are just now reporting back and stuff. So
Yeah.
Good tournament.
So that wraps up that tournament. There's also another huge, high-profile international tournament going on right now. That's the Women's Euros. Women's Euros have finally reached the quarterfinal stage, and those 4 matchups are set. Wednesday, Norway play Italy. Thursday, Sweden play England, and that's one side of the bracket. England are the reigning champions of the Euros, and then the other side of the bracket, you've got Spain versus Switzerland on Friday. Spain are the prohibitive favorite, by the way. They've just absolutely ran roughshod through pool play. And then Saturday, you've got France and Germany. France destroyed England in their first game between those two teams, and Germany's a solid team too. So that group seems like it's probably a little bit stronger. I think maybe the favorite comes out of that group. But if England can find their way past Sweden, and then Norway, Italy's not quite as intense a matchup for them, you could have England going for a repeat. I mean, it's exciting, man. The Lionesses are really exciting to watch.
A lot of superstars. I really think it's going to be an England-Spain final, and I would really love that. I think those two teams are.
I think Spain's going to roll.
I think Spain's ahead of them right now.
Yeah. If Spain can dodge, if Spain can get by France, I think Spain will just absolutely roll. That's the box office match, and it's a shame that that's probably going to come in the semis. But those games, like I said, those games will start Wednesday. They look like they're all on Fox or Fox Sports.
Yeah, they have been.
They're easily accessible. They're at 2:00 in the afternoon. So maybe Friday and Saturday might be more likely for big viewership, but really excited. There's been some good football being played, man. The women's game is at a really good place right now.
And I also love that, if you do miss the live and you can avoid the internet, they do typically re-show those games later in the evening as well. So you get a second chance to watch them, which I love as well.
Yeah. So that's what I have for news and notes on Back Post. I know you have some more City and City 2 news for us.
Yeah, just a couple of news stories here. Obviously, I think we all saw this one coming, was Marcel Harder was named to Team of the Match Day. Well-deserved, fantastic performance, not just on the score sheet, but I thought he really shined in the game. It's selfish where you see the shining lights that you wish could be included, like Orozco or even Ostrak in there. Or, man, even Berkey, I think, maybe a clean sheet he gets on that, in the Team of the Match Day. But such a tough thing. But it's just great getting to see City Red back in the Team of the Match Day. I think we got spoiled with that the first year. You might as well have penciled in somebody from City Red being in that Team of the Match Day. And it's kind of dwindled since then, but getting Klaus back in there, getting Hartle back in there, it's just good seeing, and it's good knowing that it's coming from positive performances. And then again, speaking of positive performances, City 2 just keep on rolling. I believe they're at a 9-game unbeaten streak right now, and that last week they actually broke the record for most consecutive wins in MLS Next Pro history, and now they're just gapping themselves. And once again, they're Team of the Match week. So, man, those kids are flying, and it's also great seeing that if we pull some of those guys up, they're shining on the top level stage as well. So, we've said it from year one, and pay attention to City too, and pay attention to some of those names that are shining, the Joiners, the Roscoes. Pierce, I think, is going to be one in the future as well. Venzel, like, pay attention to those types of names, because I think down the road you'll be able to say, like, I remember watching that kid at City too, and now he's just a bona fide regular for City. And then the last news that I have on is just more towards the off the field stuff, as City announced that they are partnering with the St. Louis Zoo. And I told you this one kind of pre-show. I'm surprised it almost took this long. I think that was just kind of like those two with the zoo being so popular in St. Louis, it just made sense. I also told you that I'm excited that they're almost choosing lanes that they think that will also connect with the kids. We've always kind of been big on how City does a really good job of promoting to the kids and getting the kids involved. I see so many families being brought to the games. We've both brought our kids, and it really does, like, just spark a little bit of interest in them in wanting to play. It gets my kids excited to come play at home or playing outside. It fires your kids up to go back out and play for their teams, or it just gets kids interested in having a name that they can associate with, to be able to, go out on the field with their friends and say, I'm going to be Berkey. All right, I'm Leuven, I'm Hartle. Like, you did that as a kid. And so it's just cool seeing. I did think it was funny that when they announced this, we were still on our losing streak, and they took a picture of a seal balancing a ball in the nose, and a lot of people were clamoring for City to sign that said seal, almost like we would have ourselves a little Airbud situation on the field. Good ball control. Looks like he's got, a little girth to him as well, so he could hold himself in the field. But it's just a cool partnership. I love, once again, connecting with these local, companies or whatever it may be. We've been talking about hopefully getting to the zoo. Hopefully now that the real humidity seems to somewhat be, petering out a little bit, hopefully make it there. And I'm excited to see if they have anything around the zoo or any sort of like little like set side attraction like the City Museum has dedicated towards the city. So it's just a cool partnership.
Yeah. Just go ahead and write me off for any trips to the zoo until like March or April. I'm good. I am a fan. I do like a good girthy seal though. Big fan of a good girthy seal.
You don't go to the zoo unless it's March or April?
Yeah, man. I'm not going there when it's like 110 degrees. Are you kidding me? Go mingle with all those mouth breathers and all that heat and humidity.
Yeah. Your kids they don't clamor even still? Well, I guess you're pretty much a foot down.
They like it. They like it, but they also are now at the point where they have free will, and I can't like pick them up and make them go places with me. Yeah, so yeah, and that's fine with me, because like I said, I am not not really interested in going and spending a 110 degree afternoon at the zoo at this point in my life.
I tell you what, I would like for the zoo to do is a little less souvenir areas that they have just scattered all throughout with my kids nowadays.
Yeah,
and it's a wife who when you're look how much she's hugging that teddy bear. Yeah, she's hugging she doesn't hug any of the
that's the price you pay for having a free zoo, because they have to fund their operation somehow, and it's either get you at the gate or get you while they're in there, or both. I will tell you that all the pay zoos that I've ever been to, there's no fewer amount of concession stands or merchandise stands or stupid zoo plushie toy stands. So,
trust me, I'm sure. But yeah, that's all I have on my end to wrap up our elite news and notes from the back post. Again, that's brought to you by Elite FT. Make sure you go check them out at 101 The Game Drive for their in-house, or at eliteft.com to get those kids involved in soccer and keep growing this beautiful game. We would love to thank all our sponsors as well, including our title sponsors, Ready to Live Wellness. A lot of great deals they have going on, so make sure you go check those out at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard, and as well at R2L Wellness, as well as get that swag with Warrior logo wear. Go check out their shop at 12 East Main Street in Mascoutah, Illinois. Coming up a little later on in the week, we will have our STL Kolache preview, brought to you by STL Kolache in Sunset Hills. Go get those delicious kolaches at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in St. Louis. And get some of this delicious pizza and wings from Felix's Pizza Pub this Saturday at our watch party. We'll be there at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, munching on some great pizza and wings, some cold beer, and hopefully seeing another City win against FC Dallas. Yes, David.
I just have we through all the live reads? I just want to make sure we're through before we sign off. Do you remember? Is that it? Or you
That's
gotta
all.
go?
All we got's the socials left.
Okay, well, go ahead and run through the socials, and I would like one more contribution after you run
Can
through
I
the socials.
can I have a follow up question to that?
Sure,
Is it Chelsea related?
it may be. It may be.
So our follow up on our socials as far as our keeping up with the watch party and everything South End supporters on Instagram. We're South End supporters. Our Twitter and Reddit is _SES_podcast STL. Make sure you're also following us on our Facebook page and our YouTube to keep up with all things South End supporters. So for myself, no, I'm just kidding.
So it's not what you think. I'm on, if you're on the YouTube, which there are only about 30 people, if you're not on the YouTube, I am wearing the bucket hat, the Chelsea bucket hat. This was graciously she let me borrow it. This was Zoe's, brand new. My sister got it for her. So shout out to my sister for that. And thank you, Zoe, so much for letting me borrow this. And as always, blue is the color. So
This week. Oh, no. So for myself, Eric Cole, for the Monday morning center back who looks ridiculous in that hat, you've been listening to South End Supporters. We'll see you next week. And until then, let's go City.